Welcome to the ICDB special on Kakaaki, the African Voice. My name is Bengal Bashala.
And I am Tehila Zaman. This is the last day of the special broadcast in commemoration of the International Children's Day of Broadcasting 2024 on AIT, brought to you by Playback Nigeria.
Throughout this week, we have been discussing the issue of gender-based violence and its impact on women and children. Tehila, how has this week been for you in general?
Well, this week has been fun, educating, and entertaining as well. Not only have I been a host, but I've learned a lot from all our guests we've had this week. And how about you?
Oh no, it has been quite educative and impactful. We are able to impact many audience through this platform that we have been on. We're able to impact them on gender-based violence, how to support the victims of gender-based violence. So it has been pretty good.
That's good, and I totally agree with you. And I speak for a lot of people when we have learned throughout this week that violence against women and girls is one of the most widespread, persistent, and devastating human rights violations in the world. 1 in 3 women experience physical, sexual, intimate partner violence. They become victims of trafficking or are subject to violent social norms such as early marriage, female genital mutilation, amongst other violent acts.
And I agree with you, honestly. Gender-based violence doesn't just leave a physical mark on the survivors, but also a mental health impact on them and other vulnerable groups around them. And if this impact isn't addressed, it can last a lifetime.
When we talk about mental health, we're talking about the social stigma, the trauma, anxiety, and depression as well. So on today's ICDB special, we'll be discussing gender-based violence and its impact and its effects on the mental health of children. Already in the studio with us, we have Joanna Oluwanuga.
We have Zara Paul Obameso. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
All week, we have talked about the impact of substance abuse on gender-based violence, impact of forced and domestic migration on gender-based violence, and the impact of gender-based violence on children. So in your opinion, can you tell us what you think gender-based violence is?
I think gender-based violence is like violence towards a specific gender, but it's mostly towards women and children because they are more vulnerable to this kind of abuse.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Joanna, would you have anything to add to what she has said?
I can, because I think that gender-based violence is violence against a particular group or gender. It can happen to both genders, but it mostly happens to women because they're more vulnerable.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, And I also want to ask you, because women are more vulnerable to gender-based violence, how can gender-based violence impact their mental health on both the women and the children?
Well, it can cause their self-esteem to go down by making them think that they are less than the gender that's abusing them, which can lead to problems in relationships with other genders that aren't their gender.
Thank you.
Joanna, what about you? What do you think about this?
I think that gender-based violence has a really, really, really significant impact on the mental health of people generally, because it can cause them to not feel loved because of the way they were being treated, to have trouble, social anxiety, social awkwardness, social withdrawal. They would feel that no one deserves them or they don't deserve to have anyone. They might blame themselves. They could even go into drugs and get addictions and even have suicidal thoughts.
Thank you very much, Joanna, for your point of view. That was really interesting. So, survivors of gender-based violence go through a lot of trauma and social stigma. So, what can the government and stakeholders such as NGOs do to address the impact of gender-based violence on the health of children, on the mental health of children?
Well, I think that they can they can have more awareness programs so that more people will know the impact of gender-based violence on the mental health of other people. Because if they don't know the impact, they can keep on doing it without even knowing that they're doing something wrong, which can lead to more and more cases of gender-based violence, and like Joanna said, can lead to people having suicidal thoughts, and then their self-esteem goes down.
Thank you so much for that. And how can both gender-based violence and mental illness comes with social stigma, and it's something that severely affects our community and the society as a whole. So how can survivors of gender-based violence actually address this?
Well, I think that to address that social stigma, they can seek help from authorities, people that they trust. They can tell them their problems and seek advice. But if they're too shy to go and talk to other people about their problems, they can always just search for a program or any information online that can help them out with their mental problem to address their social awkwardness, so that they can get used to society again and not hold grudges against the other gender that abused them just because of what one person did to them.
Thank you, Zara. Joanna, please can you add what she has said for us?
Okay. I think that, like Zara said, they should create awareness for the public, because if the public is going through or inflicting this on somebody and they don't know, they might continue doing it and it might keep getting worse, or people might even think that it's normal for this to happen to them. So by creating awareness for the public, it makes them know that this is wrong and that they should reach out for help if they're going through this or are witnessing this, and just helps the community get better.
Thank you. As children, what role can we play to end gender-based violence? Because we can't just leave all the work to the adults and the government. So in what way can we end gender-based violence?
Well, I think we can do it in ways like this program, because this program is like us children spreading awareness about gender-based violence.
Thank you. Joanna?
I think that we could do that by advocating for more equality, inclusive of everybody, children, women, men, in everything. We should have more about this subject in our education, so they can teach us about what it is and how to stop it, how to prevent it, or how to go through it.
Thank you so much. And to add to what both of you have said, I think as children, we can also play a role in any gender-based violence by involving everyone in any activity we do. By not doing gender discrimination, let's have our talk and then we chase all the boys away, or boys, let's have our talk and then we chase all the girls away. We can all work together and we'll have fun together and not make it seem like it's only girls and it's only boys. We should work together and cooperate with one another so that nobody will feel left out, because it will actually improve everybody's social life as well, their mentality. It will encourage them to think positive thoughts and not negative thoughts. So I wanted to ask as well, as children, gender-based violence, yeah, it affects us mentally. I'm not saying that we've been through it, but we know people who have been through it, probably. Maybe like one of our friends, we know they've gone through gender-based violence. So, do you think that they had to speak up, or you could recognize that they were going through a mental dilemma, or when they weren't mentally stable, or they were going through anxiety or depression? Did you notice it, or did they have to tell you?
Well, they didn't have to speak up, because you would normally notice it from the way they behave to other genders. Like if it was a girl, when a boy comes into the class, they would get all shifty and unsure of themselves. And if it was a boy, they would start acting strangely towards girls, aggressively and rudely, because they've already been affected by the person that abused them, the perpetrator that abused them before in their lives, and they are already taking that out on other genders, on the other gender, thinking that all people of that gender are the same.
Thank you. Joanna, do you have anything to add?
At certain points, when the abuse gets very, very much, they might close up, they might not want to socialize with anybody, they might feel like they just want to stay by themselves. No one they don't trust anybody, they might feel depressed, anxious, unsafe. That safety, that they feel inside of them might have been taken away from them. They might just close up and nobody would have a chance to get to know them or be friends with them.
Thank you so much for that. So, what do you think you can say to the people who have been victims of gender-based violence, just to help them? What do you think you can just tell them?
That they should reach out, seek support, and self-compassion and self-respect, and just try to get through it because we all love you.
Thank you for that.
Zara?
Well, I think that they should know that they can't just close themselves up, because if they close themselves up, then nobody will know what's going on, nobody will be able to help them. I think they should just reach out and learn to give themselves time to adjust better to their surroundings, and that they are not alone in this, that there are other people fighting this battle of gender-based violence with them.
Thank you so much. We have been talking to Joanna Oluwanoga and Zara Paul Obamiso on gender-based violence and its effects on the mental health of children.
We are glad to announce that at Playback Nigeria, we are playing our part in addressing gender-based violence in the society. That is why we are launching 2 End Gender-Based Violence in Creative Intervention this month.
Marapula, a social intervention using interactive theatre to engage young adolescents and women to prefer community-based solutions to end gender-based violence in Nigeria.
Playback Nigeria is also launching In the Circle, a support group for women and adolescent girls survivors of gender-based violence. With this intervention, we would use storytelling and enactments through playback theatre for psychosocial support.
We are therefore using this medium to seek your partnership, support, and volunteerism for the success of our advocacy to end gender-based violence. You can check our work on our website at www.playbacknigeria.com.
You can also email us at office@playbacknigeria.com or call 0907-2808-091, or follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and X at playbacknigeria.com.
This program has been brought to you by Playback Nigeria with the kind support and collaboration of AIT.
We look forward to having you and your children join us for our weekly improv theatre class in Abuja.
You can join us on Sunday, 3rd of March, to watch our broadcasts with the UNICEF country representative. And if you have missed any of our broadcasting throughout this week, you can go to our YouTube channel at Playback Nigeria. Until we come your way next year on Kakaaki edition of ICDB Special, my name is Tehila Zaman, and it has been a pleasure to host you with
Bingo Bachelor.